So now we will be starting with the aromatic hydrocarbon. Okay, so in this session you will be studying about what are aromatic hydrocarbons, their preparations, how to do the preparation. Especially we are talking about benzene here. The aromatic compound we are going to discuss is about benzene. Then its properties, that is chemical as well as physical property. Okay, so those things will be discussed in future. Okay, so this is the fourth part of our hydrocarbon. So aromatic hydrocarbon. See, aromatic hydrocarbon, the name aromatic, why it has come? Because of the smell. Okay, so they have a pleasant smell. These aromatic compounds, they have nice pleasant smell. Some are having characteristic smell also, so due to which the name has fallen as aromatic compounds. Okay, so here basically these aromatic compounds, they have a characteristic smell. And one more thing is, these aromatic hydrocarbons are also called as, these hydrocarbons are also called as arenes. Okay, so this is one more word you are hearing now. Arenes is one more name what they have used. Basically what I think is, this AR stands for aromatic, and then benzene kind of compounds initially. Okay, benzene substituted compounds were named as arenes. So aromatic, and then if they have benzene in them, so that's I believe that is the actual meaning of it, arenes. So hydrocarbons will be also named as arenes. So organic compound, at least they should contain one benzene ring. Okay, aromatic compound means at least they should have a benzene ring present in them. Then we call them as aromatic. Okay, and now these compounds are basically divided into two. So if they have benzene present in them, then they are called as benzenoid. And if they don't contain a benzene ring in them, then they are called as non-benzenoid compounds. Okay, so the aromatic compound which contains benzene ring in them, named as benzenoid. Like example is benzene itself. Okay, so for benzenoid I can take this as example. They have benzene ring in them, so they are called as benzenoid. And if they don't contain a benzene ring, like you remember when I was doing this classification of some basic concept, there also we have discussed. Tropylone is one example. Okay, tropylone does not contain a benzene ring. This is how the structure of tropylone is. Okay, this is the structure they have, and then they have double bond over here like this. So it doesn't have a benzene ring. It is not a benzene ring. They have seven. You can see here seven sites are there for them. Four, and then five, six, seven. Okay, so this is not a benzene containing compound, so they are called as non-benzenoid. And this has a benzene ring in them. Even naphthalene you can take as example. Naphthalene also has benzene ring in them. Okay, so they will come under this category. So clear about aromatic compounds? You can make a note. Yes, aniline also, correct. They have a substitution. Aniline also will come here. Aniline, toluene. See, if I take here benzene ring with NH2, this is aniline. Correct. Aniline is example of benzenoid. Even toluene you can take benzene ring with CH3. So these are benzenoid compounds. Okay, toluene. Toluene is the example. Tropylone, then we have another compounds. There are many compounds like that, but for you this is enough. Azulene is one more compound which doesn't have a benzene ring in them. Okay. So basically we will be studying about benzene. I told you we are not going to study about all the compounds. Our main focus will be on benzene. Molecular formula of benzene is what? C6H6. Okay, molecular formula of benzene we know it is C6H6, means there are 6 carbon, and that 6 carbon has attached to 6 hydrogen. Okay, okay, next one, see now how the structure is exactly of these benzene. There is a double bond. If you see the structure now, see this is how the structure is. There is carbon attached everywhere, and to that carbon alternate position you will find there is a double bond, and then you have a single bond, then double bond, then single, then again double bond. So alternate position you find there is double bond and then single bond present. Okay, and the hybridization, you are familiar now. If there is a double bond, the hybridization for that carbon is sp2. Okay, so in that sp2 hybridization, see now here you can see behind there will be one more. Okay, sp2 hybridization means you will have three orbitals undergoing hybridization. One s orbital and two p orbital undergo hybridization in this fashion and will give you these three hybrid orbital. But there will be one more orbital, no? Because carbon has four orbitals. Outermost shell, you know, there are four orbitals, one s orbital and three p orbital. Only two p orbitals are utilized. So there is one more p orbital which is unhybridized like this. So you can see the diagram here, the blue and the pink one. Okay, you can see an orbital here. That's the full thing. Okay, that's full is actually a p orbital. So this is unhybridized p orbital. And then here I have drawn one, this one, and then this, and then one more over here. These are hybrid orbital. Okay, so these two hybrid orbital of carbon and carbon will overlap with each other. It will give rise to one sigma bond. Okay, and these orbitals are there, no, which is unhybridized. They will overlap with each other to give rise to a pi bond. Okay, that's how the hybridization happens in benzene ring. Okay, I hope you are able to follow, students. There are four orbitals which are present in the carbon. Okay, see carbon 6. So I have 1s2, 2s2 and then 2p. Two electrons are there. But you know outermost shell, this s is one division and then we have p three division. Okay. So they undergo excitation where you will be having four electrons in the excited state. So in that only these will undergo hybridization to give you hybrid orbital. That's sp2 hybrid orbital. Okay, so these will undergo hybridization. So I have placed those here, red mark, you can see those are hybrid orbital. Okay, so in that two hybrid orbital overlap with each other. Okay, one on this side with the carbon, here also there will be one, no, like this. Okay, here there is one behind, you imagine. Okay, so these will overlap with each other to form a sigma bond. Remaining which is unhybridized, that is this one. Okay, this one here which is not utilized. Now here this one which we have not utilized, there is one electron here which we have not utilized, that's there in the p orbital. Here, see, that is here, this one. This and then this p orbital will overlap with each other, then it will give rise to a pi bond. So like that everywhere the overlapping repeats. Okay, and these particular molecule will have planar geometry. Okay, it's trigonal planar because you know if it is sp3 hybridization, the geometry is planar. So benzene is a planar molecule, it's not three-dimensional molecule. Okay, it's a planar in nature, means they are having two-dimensional structure like this. See, one and one plane, this is one plane. Okay, this plane we are talking about. So plane means it is two-dimensional, no? So that is how the structure is. Okay, so you can write down for structure of benzene, you can directly draw this. Okay, after drawing this structure, then you can write every carbon over here. Every carbon over here is sp2 hybridized and the geometry of them is trigonal planar. If you want, you can draw this diagram. It's not required for you. Okay, so this is how it will continue. I said no, three hybrid orbitals are there. See, one here, one this one, and then one here and one on the other side. Okay, so these hybrid orbitals, see, you can see overlapping with each other. Carbon and carbon will overlap. Okay, then one more hybrid orbital which is remaining will be overlap with the s orbital of hydrogen. Here again carbon and carbon will overlap. So like this the overlapping repeats. So it gives you one sigma bond and the unhybridized ones are there, no, that will be above this. Okay, this is in this way. Okay, that will be present here. Here also there will be one more. So they will overlap together. You don't have to draw this. Okay, you can directly write, that much is enough. This is only for your understanding. Otherwise they don't ask you structures to draw, hybrid orbital structures they don't ask you. So write only this much detail. Okay, you draw benzene structure first, then write every carbon over here is sp2 hybridized and geometry for them is trigonal planar. Now moving on, see, when you draw the structure, we don't have only this possible structure, correct? We can draw in a different way. One way I can draw it in this fashion. Okay, I can put double bond on this side, but you know that this is not the only way I can draw. These are nothing but pi electrons, and pi electrons keep moving from one place to another place. So another structure we can draw is placing the pi bond in the other position. Okay, I am placing that over here. So here I am placing them. I have shifted that position, just I have shifted that over here, this way. Okay, so I've just shifted them and I've written here like this. So this is one more way of drawing the structure. But then later they got to know that neither they have exactly the first one, nor it is exactly the second one what we have. Okay, so it's the combination of both. These electrons, they don't sit in one particular place. Okay, they are not confined to one particular region. So they have found that, they have discovered later that neither these electrons are here nor it is on the other side. So on the whole, what we do is we write the hybrid structure. Okay, so when we represent the hybrid structure, you know, we just place them in the form of a dot. Okay, so here we are just placing them in the form of dot, which indicates that these electrons are continuously moving from one place to another place. They are not confined to one particular region. Okay, some they put a circle also. Okay, you can put a dotted lines, or you can even put a benzene ring with a circle. Okay, with a ring. So this is how the structures are, and these structures are called as canonical structures or resonance structures. These are called as canonical structures, or also called as resonance structure. Okay, we call them as resonance structure. And this last one which I have written, that is called as hybrid. This I will erase. You can write only one. Okay, this is called as resonance hybrid structure. Resonance hybrid structure. So in the exam, if they ask you to write resonance structures, you can write canonical, and you can write one more at the end. You make this 3 lines. This 3 lines indicates that we have combined these two and written the third one. Okay, this is a combination of these two. The third one which I have written, no, that's the combination of first and the second one. Yes, I'll go for the next one now. See, next, our next concept is to discuss about aromaticity. Means when a compound will be aromatic. For a compound to be aromatic, you need to consider these following characteristics. Okay, they should be following these uh, the 3 points which are placed over here. That 3 things, if they are able to fulfill these characteristics, if they are having, that means that compound is aromatic in nature. Because it's not like only benzene compounds were found to be aromatic. They have found the other compounds also being aromatic in nature. Okay, so depending on those other compounds also, we had to come with a general conclusion. So that general conclusions are these. Okay, these 3 points, if any compound fulfill, that means the compound will be aromatic in nature. First one, it should be planar. Okay, planarity should be there. Planarity means they should be planar in nature. You have seen, no, benzene, I said it's a two-dimensional structure. If you take 2D, the benzene compounds can be placed over here. So most of the compounds which are there, they should be planar. Okay, it should not be three-dimensional. So planar. One more thing is there should be complete delocalization of pi electrons. Complete delocalization of pi electrons where in the ring. Okay, so if you take benzene, that fulfills that characteristic. See, if I take benzene compound, these are the pi electrons. No, these are pi electrons. You can shift them. No, I can shift this electron here and this one here and this one on the other side. Then I get a different structure this way. So that means they are moving from one place to another place. That's called as delocalization. Delocalization means they are not confined to one particular region. They can be shifted from one place to another place. Okay. So complete delocalization is possible here in the ring. So then they are aromatic. Okay, so second point is also fulfilled. Then next, third very important point, it is also called as Huckel rule, given by Huckel. So what he says is there should be presence of 4n plus 2 pi electrons. 4n plus 2 pi electrons in the ring, where n stands for, n can be any integer, it can be 0, it can be 1, it can be 2, and then so on. Okay, so there should be 4n plus 2. This n doesn't stand for the number of pi electrons. They are just saying that there should be this number of pi electrons in the ring. Okay, like if I take n value as 0, If I take n value as 0, then I will get 2. That means I should have 2 pi electrons. So if a compound has 2 pi electrons, that means it's aromatic in nature. Or if I take n value as 1, okay, if I take n value as 1 here, 4 plus 2, I will get 6 pi electron. Means in the compound, you should see whether they are having 6 pi electrons present in them. Or if I take now n is equal to 2, 2 means I will get 4 2s are 8, 8 plus 2. 10 pi electrons means one compound having 10 pi electrons. That means it is aromatic. That is what Huckel rule says. Okay. So don't get confused between n value doesn't stand for number of pi electrons here. They are talking about total pi electrons which should be present in the ring. See now if I take benzene, you can understand with benzene. Benzene has how many pi electrons? 3 pairs are there. See here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 pairs means 6 electrons. 6 pi electrons, no? Total electrons I'm asking. Total electrons are 6 in benzene. So these have 6 pi electrons, okay? 3 pairs but 6 pi electrons. That means it is aromatic in nature, okay? So they are planar also, and then there is complete delocalization of pi electrons in the ring, plus there is 6 pi electrons present in them, okay? So those compounds are said to be aromatic in nature. Okay, I'll repeat once again. See, for a compound to be aromatic, they should possess following characteristics. They should be planar. They should be on the plane. Okay, it should be two-dimensional. One more thing. See, you take the example of benzene. Benzene has alternate pi bond. That means I can shift this electron from one place to another place. Okay, like this you can shift and then get back to another structure. So this is possible. This again can be shifted and you will reverse back to the first structure. So that means you can shift, those electrons can be moved from one place to another place. Then they are aromatic in nature. One more, last is the Huckel rule. They should be able to follow Huckel rule. Means there should be 4n plus 2 pi electrons. Total, so many pi electrons should be there. Either if I take n as 0, then there should be 2 pi electrons. Either the compound should have 2 pi electron or 6 pi electrons or 10 pi electrons, like that. Okay, yeah, even number of pi electrons you are able to see here. If they have that many electrons present in them, that means it is aromatic. And benzene fulfills all these characteristics. They are planar also. There is complete delocalization of electron and they have presence of 4 and plus 2 pi electron, where n value comes as 1 here. For benzene, n value is 1. Okay. One more compound you see now here. I will take the other one. See this compound here. This is naphthalene. Okay. The compound here I've taken is naphthalene. No, if you have, that's what, correct. If you have 4 pi electrons, then that means it is not aromatic in nature. It's anti-aromatic in nature. Either they should have 2 pi electrons, according to that rule, it should follow the rule, okay? Or they should have 6 pi electrons, or you should get 10 pi electrons, like that you should get. It should fulfill that rule. Now here if I take, see whether they are able to fulfill that rule. How many pi electrons are there? This naphthalene, take this compound and check out. In the naphthalene, how many pi electrons? Everyone can answer. Count. Total electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct, no? Yeah, it will fulfill. So 10 pi electrons are there. So that means here n value comes out as 3. Okay, n value comes out as 3. So don't get confused between n doesn't stand for pi electron here. Okay. N we can substitute later and then find out. You should count total number of pi electrons. So that comes out as 10. So naphthalene is an aromatic compound. Yes, now you write down this aromaticity. Yes, make a correction here. It should be n is equal to 2. Okay. N is equal to 2, then pi elect. So then you will get 10 pi electrons. Yeah, we'll go for next now. Okay, next is preparation of benzene. We are starting with preparation. First preparation is using cyclic polymerization, which I did in the morning. Okay. In the ethyne's property, I have discussed this. If you remember ethine, when they were passed to red hot iron tube, maintained around 873 Kelvin, three molecules of ethynes, they join hand with each other. Okay. And they combine together, and you know, when many molecules combine together, that process is called as polymerization. So here these three molecules were found to combine together to form benzene. Okay, so that is one preparation. This we have already done in the properties. Okay, so you can make a note of that. Yeah, now I'll go for second one. Second preparation is by decarboxylation of aromatic acid. Okay, this preparation is almost similar. It's a general reaction which I had done for preparation of alkanes, if you remember. Decarboxylation of aromatic acid. Okay, aromatic acid salt we had taken. So that was generally, I will write now here. See, RCONA. Salt of carboxylic acid was taken. Salt of carboxylic acid made to react with soda lime. What was soda lime? Soda lime was sodium hydroxide with the calcium oxide. Okay, this reaction we have done, and if you remember, I told you calcium oxide was just added so that the sodium hydroxide, because they are quite hygroscopic in nature, just to eliminate the moisture. Okay, just to, so that sodium hydroxide does not absorb moisture and lose their efficiency, we are adding calcium oxide. Okay, so here that is called as soda lime. Together they are called as soda lime, and during the process we saw this whole thing goes out in the form of a salt. Okay, these things will combine together and form a salt, and R and H will combine together. Okay, RH combines together and you get Na2CO3, sodium carbonate, you get as a salt. Correct? No? If I take now here CH3 and this H will combine together to give you CH4. Methane can be prepared. So now if you want to take the preparation of benzene, what I should consider here in the place of R group, what should be considered? Generally you understood how we do it, correct? No? So if I have to prepare benzene, what salt should be taken here? Here R group should be what? R group should be C6, yeah. C6H5, okay, one hydrogen less, but see here, if I want to prepare methane, methane is CH4. I have one hydrogen less. That's the R group, correct? No? So here C6H5 and then COONA, okay. So this salt I have to take. That's sodium salt of benzoic acid, also called as sodium benzoate, okay. This compound name is sodium benzoate, okay. Sodium benzoate is made to react with the soda lime, that is sodium hydroxide with calcium oxide. So then there is elimination now. See, elimination of this salt will go out. Okay, this whole thing you remove out. So you will get Na2CO3 plus C6H6. Okay, similar reaction, but compound what you are preparing is different. This is for benzene and that was for methane preparation. Again, the reactions are decarboxylation only. Decarboxylation means there is removing of CO2 group. Carbon dioxide whole group has gone out in the form of a salt. Okay, so you can write down this. You start from here. This general one I had just given because so that you remember the preparation of methane. Okay, you can write down here sodium salt of benzoic acid with soda lime gives benzene. Gives benzene. Okay, this whole thing is soda lime. Okay, next one, next preparation, the third one. That is by reduction of phenol. So using phenol we can prepare. Phenol is benzene ring attached with OH group. Okay. So benzene ring with the OH group is phenol. Now in the phenol, what you find extra here is this oxygen. Okay. So this oxygen should be removed. Addition of oxygen is oxidation. Removal of oxygen, if you remove oxygen, then we call them as reduction. So here we have to remove this oxygen from the phenol. Okay, so that is done by taking a reactive metal like zinc is taken. Okay, so zinc is a reactive metal which will reduce this phenol by taking this oxygen. Okay, so it will take this oxygen and go out, and then what you get is benzene. Okay, so you get benzene plus zinc oxide. Okay, this oxygen is taken by the zinc. Okay, and this hydrogen will be satisfied over here because this carbon is having one hydrogen less, so this hydrogen will get attached over here. Okay, here this side it will come, and this oxygen will go out with zinc. Okay, on heating. So this is done on heating, it gives you benzene. Okay, so you can write down phenol is reduced to benzene. It is reduced to benzene by passing vapors of phenol over heated zinc dust. Okay. So you are already heating the zinc dust and then you are passing this phenol. Phenol is a liquid. You are just heating them and passing it so that they get converted to benzene plus gives you zinc oxide. It done at a higher temperature because you need that bond to be broken out. You can directly even write, students. You can write in your own word. Okay, you don't have to by heart anything. You can directly write zinc dust when treated with phenol. Okay, it gives you benzene. That is also fine, provided you know the equation correct. Yes, I'll continue with properties, students. Physical properties of benzene. Benzene is an organic compound and they are colorless. Okay, benzene is usually a colorless liquid, non-polar in nature. Okay, and higher aromatic compounds, if you are taking, they may be existing in the solid state also, and they have a characteristic aroma. So I told you they are called as aromatic compounds. They have a kind of characteristic smell. So they are used as a solvent in the perfumes. Okay, so many places these are used as a solvent where you require a characteristic smell. These are used. Okay, so one is this. The first physical property what I've told just now is they are colorless and they are non-polar in nature. Okay, these are non-polar in nature. They are not having any polarity because you know carbon and carbon bond is there. So they are non-polar in nature. And next one is if you burn this benzene, okay, if you are heating them, you do the combustion of these, they will give you this these kind of flames. You can see here, these are called as sooty flame. Okay, SOOTY. Okay, these flames are called as sooty flame. Means when you are burning, if you don't get a clear one, you get carbon compounds, carbon particles along with that. Like if you burn the wax, you have seen, if you hold your hand, all that carbon blacks which are there, they will come and get deposited on your hand. Yes, black smoke what you get. Yes, correct. So those that is called, that flame is called as sooty flame. But when you do the burning of these aliphatic compounds, you don't get a sooty flame like this. You see at home LPG gas we are burning, that's aliphatic compound. So they don't give you any sooty flame. So that's one test actually to identify whether the compound is aromatic or they are aliphatic. Okay, so in the lab we find out like that. If two liquids are given to you, you heat them, it's a flame test. Okay, this test is also called as flame test. So when we take one spatula of these aromatic compounds, we get the flame of these category. Okay, and you can see that black smoke coming out. But if they are aliphatic, they don't give you such. So that's how we categorize them. Okay, so sooty flame is being formed. And one more thing is miscibility in the water. Water, water is polar in nature, and these hydrocarbons are non-polar in nature. So non-polar will not get dissolved in polar. Like dissolves like. Non-polar will be soluble in non-polar solvent. Polar will be soluble in polar solvent. Okay, you can see a layer being formed here. Now when benzene was dissolved in water, you can see a layer. Okay, separate layers are formed. Benzene is staying up and water stays down. So they are not soluble. But if same benzene is dissolved in organic solvent, then they will get dissolved. Okay, so benzene dissolves in organic solvent and they don't dissolve in non-organic solvent. Means polar solvent, they don't get dissolved. They dissolve only in non-polar solvents. Okay, that's the physical properties of benzene. So you can make a note, aromatic hydrocarbons are usually non-polar in nature. They are colorless. Higher ones are in the solid state also, and they have a characteristic aroma. Okay, and they are immiscible. Immiscible means they are not soluble in water, but they are readily soluble in organic solvents, and they burn with a sooty flame. This separation, no, see here. Below that you have water. Okay, the down one I've taken as water, and to this benzene is added. So you can see they don't get dissolved with each other. There is a layer.